A top focus at this hour amid a worrying spike in heart attack-related deaths in Karnataka's Hassan district, over 20 in the past 1 month alone. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has expressed concerns and suggested the rapid approval and rollout of the COVID-19 vaccine could be the reason for these fatalities. However, health experts and leading research bodies have refuted this claim. The Indian Council of Medical Research, the National Centre for Disease Control have investigated these deaths in the past as well. Remember, and the Government of India has put the details out, saying the findings of this research confirmed that the vaccine did not increase the risk of heart attacks in the younger population. Scientific experts warn that linking vaccines to deaths is both false and harmful, as it undermines public trust in vaccines, an essential tool that saved millions of lives during the peak of the pandemic. Preliminary data from the ongoing study shows that heart attacks remain the leading cause of sudden deaths in this age group due to sedentary lifestyle and pre-existing conditions. Patterns have remained consistent with previous years, and in many unexplained cases, genetic mutations were identified as a possible underlying cause.
COVID has affected the entire body with an inflammatory process, and this gradually we have started to learn that it has affected the cardiac system also. Now, putting this on the vaccine, I don't think so that is right. Vaccine is created from the virus, the inactive virus or the dead virus. We create the vaccines. Hence, it is not the COVID vaccine, it is the virus itself which needs to be blamed for all these increased mortality in the young people which is happening. And that has been proved by the ICMR.
All right. In fact, this is what medical experts have been saying as well as far as the vaccine efficacy and the safety is concerned, saying that the profile of the vaccine is indicative of the fact that it's not just safe, but it is also efficacious, and that it helped protect against severe infection, if not severe infection per se, if not infection per se, rather. Let's get you up to speed with myths versus facts as far as India's vaccines are concerned. What was said? Vaccines cause infertility. It's actually false. There is no effect on fertility or pregnancy. It was also said that these vaccines were rolled out in a hurry, were rushed and not safe. Well, they were actually approved after proper trials. Billions were safely vaccinated. The vaccines have peak fat. This was something that was said during the peak of the pandemic, rather, when the vaccines were rolled out. It's absolutely false. There is, in fact, no such ingredient. Vaccines cause heart attacks. This is something that's being said again and again, even now, as you've seen. Not proven. Studies done by the Government of India, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the National Centre for Disease Control say this is not correct. There's no direct link as confirmed by them. So you've recovered from COVID, you don't need vaccine. This was what was said during the beginning of the pandemic. Clearly not. You still had to take vaccine for better protection and, of course, protection against severe infection. So it was also said that there is no mask that is needed after vaccination. It's still needed. Vaccines reduce severity of the infection. They do not stop the spread of the infection, and that is something that needs to be reiterated time and again. In spite of the fact check by the Indian Council of Medical Research, the Congress is sticking to its guns, saying that issues with vaccine have been seen across the world. Countering the charges, BJP said if vaccines were to be to blame, then deaths would have spiked across the state and not just in Hassan. Dismissing the Congress statement is absolutely baseless.
Medical expert. And I know that he's a political expert. He politicizes health, he politicizes education, he politicizes administration, he politicizes center-state relations. So his whole life he used to politicize and link the death of the people in Hassan to COVID. His only aim is to divert the whole issue, which is always does that. Divert the whole issue. It is his incumbent duty. Certainly, the health system in Karnataka has collapsed. There are no medicines, timely medicines for critical illness. Siddaramaiah is totally a disturbed man.
Karnataka Chief Minister is now saying that there are deaths that are happening in his constituency, that is Hassan. He is saying it's because of the center and the COVID vaccines that the center pushed Indians to take. Do you believe in this? The government has given clarification. All the reports are saying that heart attacks and COVID vaccines are not related.
No, look, I have usually address all chief ministers with a great deal of respect. When it comes to Siddaramaiah, I really have a great deal of difficulty in saying respected Siddaramaiah because he has taken politics in Karnataka to a level where it is beyond desperation and shamelessness and a politics of lies. He is the chief minister of a state that is rapidly imploding. It is imploding socially, it is imploding economically, there is no money for development.
These kind of remarks about COVID vaccines because they actually save lives.
There is no point telling the Congress government what to say and what not to say. It is like trying to tell the Congress party that you should not have political alliances with the Jamaat-e-Islami. But they will do it because they are desperate, they are shameless.
Throughout the world and India, today if you see any professionals, if you meet any of the medical specialists, they would say, there is a reason is because of this COVID vaccines. ICMR had to, they have to substitute, no? They have to tell what is the reason then. Then what is the reason for? In one district, so many people are facing this heart attack. Throughout India and throughout Karnataka, there so many people are facing, especially middle-aged and young people. Then what is the reason for them? They have to come up with, no? Let them come up with then. If they come up with the substitute answer, then we can agree.
All right, so what has the Health Ministry really said in the rebuttal that was issued early morning today? Talking about the study by the Indian Council of Medical Research, Institute of Epidemiology has done this study. Let me take you through the details. Essentially, no evidence of link between vaccine and heart attack, says the study. India's vaccines were safe, not just that, they were effective as well. Extremely rare instances of serious side effects that were found, of course, after the administration of the vaccine, but not now. Sudden deaths are because of the following reasons: genetics, lifestyle, pre-existing conditions, and post-COVID complications. Also, another study which is still being done, but we'll take you through the early findings of this one, which is being done by Delhi's prestigious All India Institute of Medical Sciences. The government says genetic mutations are behind the unexplained sudden deaths. And of course, the final results of this study are awaited. I'm being joined right now by my colleagues Nagarjun Dwarkanath from Bengaluru, Milan Sharma joining us from Delhi at this point in time. Nagarjun, first to you. The government of Karnataka, the Chief Minister, has now squarely blamed the vaccines in his suggestion that it could be the reason behind his death. A charge that the Congress has made in the past as well, saying it was hurried through. However, studies after studies have indicated that this is not correct. The government today says this is plain misinformation.
Well, that's absolutely true. BJP
Yes.
went on to say that the vaccine was given across the state and across India. Why is it only Hassan that we are seeing cardiac arrest deaths? And so it's not right for the Chief Minister and the government to blame the vaccine, is what BJP has said. But however, the Congress government is of an opinion that if not the vaccine, what is the reason? The ICMR should come up with a reason as to why the deaths are happening. And now a committee has been constituted by Jaydeva, headed by the Jaydeva cardiac hospital also in Bengaluru. He'll be heading, the chairman of the Jaydeva hospital will be heading the committee, and then they'll give a brief report as to what is causing these deaths in Hassan district.
Milan Sharma is also with us. Milan, isn't this a sense of deja vu really? Because we've had this conversation just so many times in the last few months or so, from the moment the vaccine was actually rolled out, that this kind of misinformation is being spread. It added so much to the vaccine hesitancy at this point in time. Thankfully, there is no surge in infections now, and there is actually no need to go back to taking the vaccines. However, this added to the vaccine hesitancy even at that point in time, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, Sneha. I remember, us discussing this time and again throughout COVID that, the vaccines are going to cause deaths, the vaccines are going to harm your body, the vaccines are going to be, leading to harmful consequences. But of course, there are studies being done, and to all those critiques out there, Indian studies are being done. So we're not talking about any international study or any foreign study. We're talking about Indian studies done by prestigious institutions, prestigious scientists that have said that there's no direct link with the vaccination. Of course, there could be underlying factors. There could be a lot of changes that our bodies have gone through after COVID, which also, requires a deeper research into what our lifestyle has become. Stress could be a factor.
That's right.
Lack of immunity could be a factor. So there needs to be a scientific base for the Karnataka government to have, to say this, and they don't have it at the moment, which
Absolutely.
is why, it's creating this kind of scare.
That's right. That's why there is fair amount of fear mongering. I'm going to leave it at that. Milan Sharma, Nagarjun Dwarkanath. Also welcoming to this broadcast, Dr. Ashok Sait, chairperson of the Fortis Escorts Heart Institute. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I want to begin by asking you, what do you make of these, these things that are being said 3 years after the vaccine was first rolled out, actually, that heart attacks in a particular district in Karnataka could be linked to the vaccine. The government today has said this is misinformation.
I state very clearly that vaccines did not cause heart attacks at all. And we have evidence, huge amounts of evidence. I'm glad that ICMR has done study to dispel this misinformation and myth in India. But there's studies from all across the world. And this myth and disinformation should be dispelled completely. We are alive and safe in a 1.4 billion population because we had vaccines available to us in India and readily available to us. If you notice the deaths which have occurred from COVID across the world, we were a small proportion of that because we were saved. I can also guide people that it is COVID which has caused heart attacks. COVID was not just a lung disease. I had stated it many times. It's a heart disease. 20% of those who had COVID died from heart attacks and cardiovascular disease symptoms, including clots in the lungs, clots in the arteries of the heart, arrhythmias, and weakening of heart muscles. 50% of those who had severe COVID died because of heart problems. And finally, I would also say, enough population-based studies show us that people who had COVID continued to have a risk of heart attack for up to 3 years and maybe 4 years later. So if we talk about sudden deaths which are happening around us, believe you me, these have been happening even prior to COVID.
Yes.
It is just more noticeable because of the social media. It is just more noticeable because we want to point fingers at certain aspects. But these are heart attacks, and these are lifestyle-related heart attacks. And some of the younger ones, and extremely young children who died, are more related to genetic disorders.
Doctor...
Coronary artery disease and heart attacks
Yes.
are increasing in India. And it's totally a lifestyle disorder, and we should not correlate it to COVID vaccine, though we can correlate to the COVID disease because the side effects of COVID can continue up to 3 years and 4 years in increased risk of heart attack.
Dr. Sait, I kind of, appreciate the fact that you mentioned that, and it's so important to point out that right now it's easy to, make these videos of people dropping dead. It's become easier. Maybe something that we weren't doing last 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. And that's the reason why it seems to us that heart attacks are increasing. But have you seen otherwise, that younger people are now coming in with, heart attacks and heart ailments. People below the age of 40.
In the COVID times, we saw a lot more, I would say. And that was because COVID really did cause heart attacks. COVID did cause heart disease. COVID caused arrhythmias. COVID caused LV dysfunction. That's why, if you remember, everybody who had COVID, we used to tell them, please do not exercise vigorously after your recovery from COVID. Please take it easy for a few months. There was a 300% increase in heart attacks at the COVID time over the next 1 year, 300% increase, and that increase has continued. So certainly, we see a gradual increase over the last 10 years of heart attacks in young people. I wouldn't say that we saw it happen rapidly over the last 1 or 2 years, but during COVID times we did, and that was COVID itself.
Because if I may call it long COVID in that sense, that it's lingering on, what would you say people should do right now?
Oh, very clearly. This is a lifestyle-related disorders. Even just by a routine blood test, checking our diabetes, making sure we haven't got sugar, cholesterol, and high blood pressure, and making sure that we exercise and follow good dietary as well as lifestyle habits can decrease the risk of our heart attack by 25% on its own. We don't need any medication to decrease risk of heart attacks on ourselves. So my advice to public is prevent heart attacks. It's in your hands, it's in your feet, and you're able to just do it by simple routine examination and by doing regular exercise of 200 minutes, 200 minutes a week, which is 5 times 40 minutes. You're decreasing your risk of heart attack hugely. Exercise decreases your cholesterol, decreases your sugar, decreases diabetes, gets you less, decreases your weight, decreases your high blood pressure. Give up smoking and feel positive, and you decrease your chances of having a heart attack by 25%. It's in your hands. That's what I'd say.
Preventive healthcare, how important is it today, Dr. Ashok Sait? When does one start? One, getting a health checkup on a yearly basis when one turns 25 or 30 or 35?
It's a very good question, and I have my advice very clear to the public. If there is a family history of heart attacks or sudden deaths, which means if your own family has suddenly, in a parents, your fathers or your sister has, somebody's had a heart attack at an early age, then your personal checks should start by the age of 20 with cholesterol, check of sugar, and check of blood pressure. If the cholesterol turn out to be normal, then it's every 5 years from there on. But by the age of 30, every male individual in this country should have had a test of his blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol. There's no question around that. These are our basic risk factors. Give up or avoid smoking completely. Make sure that we're not overweight, and we've got a list of risk factors under our control. By the way, I'm hearing a lot of background sound in my ear, and that which is distracting me from conversing with you.
Okay.
And I think it is coming from the India Today office itself.
Okay.
With a lot of sound.
Apologize. We'll just fix that in a moment. I apologize for that. If you could just fix that for a moment. Dr. Ashok Sait, if you could continue with the point that you were making essentially.
Right.
Yes.
And when it goes to beyond the age of 30, and by the way, if we have risk factors, then of course annual checkup becomes very important. If I've got diabetes, if I've got high blood pressure, then it becomes very important for me to have regular checkups every year thereafter. So our checkups in India start by the age of 20, and certainly by the age of 20, everyone should have at least their risk factors measured, outlined, and clearly taken off by their own selves.
Yes.
Obviously, if the doctor advises, and if the doctor advises more advanced tests, and by the advanced test, it could be an echo, it will be a stress test, could be a CT, and that's specific, then we should go by the doctor's advice and take on further tests. But there are certain things which are in our hands, and we should apply it, and we should judiciously make sure we prevent heart disease in ourselves.
Dr. Ashok Sait, I want to also ask you a set of questions on how health and nutrition literacy should become a mass movement in India, and so should the knowledge of CPR, basics that need to be in place. But before that, I want to go back a little, come back to a conversation around vaccines. This is what India has said and done about telling the people that our vaccines are safe. But outside of India, remember that there was a lot of pressure on the government of India even at that point in time to bring in these mRNA vaccines, which are now found to be causing some long-term problems. I mean, at the end of the day, that deal never worked out with Pfizer. I mean, in the hindsight, do you think, thank God it didn't?
No, we are, I would say that the mRNA vaccines, I would truly appreciate if this background noise from India Today can be fixed, because it's truly distracting me from saying what I want to say. There's a conversation which
Dr.
is happening
Ashok Sait,
there.
you please continue to be with us. I'll just come back to you in 2 minutes from now. Please don't go away, because we are telling our viewers, and while we fix your audio, we're telling our viewers about what the government of India has said essentially. Just to reiterate this for our viewers, essentially to drive home the point that there should be no vaccine hesitancy against, against vaccines in general, and also against COVID-19 vaccines. Because the government of India has said, and this is through the Indian Council of Medical Research and the National Center for Disease Control, that there is no reason to link these sudden deaths between the ages of 18 to 45, the younger population to, so to speak, on these vaccines. Essentially, these are cases of heart attack, and also telling our viewers a little more about what has been seen over the last few years or so. I'm telling you about Delhi's PSRI hospital, which has reported, and this is anecdotal and the hospital's own data, 50% of heart attack patients were below the age of 40, something that Dr. Ashok also spoke about post-COVID. Also, this is another set of data that is coming in from a hospital in Bengaluru, which shows 31% of heart attack and angioplasty procedures were done in men around the age of 40 or under. This is also another study that was done by a hospital in Bengaluru. Essentially, 300% increase is what Dr. Ashok Sait pointed at, that there was an increase in heart ailments in younger people who had severe COVID. Post-COVID thrombosis and COVID thrombosis. Many people, 20% of those who succumbed to COVID, is what Dr. Ashok Sait has reiterated, died of heart attacks. Essentially, they were COVID positive, but they succumbed, and the reason was COVID-19. All right, let's also tell you a little what this means for all of us, the younger population, for India's youth below the age of 40, 45. Early screening, something that doctors have been emphasizing on. Just ask around you how many people are regularly checking their cholesterol, blood sugar, ECG, blood pressure. From the age of 25 to 30, something that should be done. Lifestyle modification, balanced diet, regular physical activity is something that we all need to look at. Reduce our smoking, processed foods, proper sleep, stress management, importantly, I believe, a silent killer. Awareness and education, recognize atypical symptoms, jaw, back aches essentially, and also fatigue. Learn CPR, something that I wish Dr. Sait to in fact throw some light on. Early access to emergency care, should that not be made mandatory in schools? Of course, research and policy, which is multi-center studies, public health initiatives done in this direction. Dr. Ashok Sait is back with us. I hope you can hear me loud and clear and just hear me, Dr. Sait, and no one else. I want to ask you.
Thank you. Thank you. I can now.
Right. I want to ask you, and we were discussing the mRNA vaccines, and Pfizer is in litigation in the United States of America. We know that there have been several concerns and lawsuits saying that these vaccines have actually done more harm than anything else. That's not the case of in our vaccines, isn't it?
Absolutely. In fact, in a way, I'm happy that those vaccines did not come into the country and that we had our indigenous science, indigenous vaccine. And I was, as a doctor, as a healthcare worker, I was one of the first to get them, and I made sure I would be the first one to get them because I knew that I had to fight the COVID and serve the patients with COVID day after day after day. I felt so protected with our own vaccines. So in a way, it really made sure that our vaccines could get to our population in the fastest possible manner. And believe you me, we were able, because of our policymakers, because of our political leadership, and because of our scientists and healthcare workers, that we were able to vaccinate a whole Australia in a single day in our country. Can you believe the achievements of our own country? So no, we are very proud. And I think we were also safe with our own vaccines. And then, of course, came in our own research and science. So I think we did a great job.
Right.
Let's put this vaccination absolutely out of the window. We are alive because we had our vaccines. We would have been dead without them. And I think this misinformation, I can't believe this misinformation seems to continue, but I guess it takes a more political overtones than truly anything else. And I think, therefore, perhaps this controversy will continue to be misinformed public repeatedly over a period of time when we shouldn't have been really discussing this anymore.
All right.
And coming to this, I think you raised a very important point about basic CPR. It is so unfortunate that we see visuals and videos being shot of someone collapsing in a hotel lobby, or somebody collapsing after heavyweight lifting and dying. And what is being done? A video being shot of it, which gets circulated. These are unfortunate visuals because I feel so frustrated that the person who was taking the video should have actually been able to resuscitate that patient, the person who died. Rather than taking a video, we can save lives. Saving a life of a collapsed person in front of us is our own hands.
Yes.
And that is why this basic CPR, which you raised, is so important. Basic CPR or basic life support can be learned very easily. It can be even learned through YouTube. Just looking at the YouTube, there's such lovely videos around it that we can save lives. And by the way, every heart patient's relative, every relative of every heart patient should know basic CPR, because that relative can actually collapse at home and have a cardiac arrest. And we would then be our only persons in our home to be able to save and give life to that patient back. Cardiac arrest means a person is dead. A person is dead unless revived in the next few minutes. And therefore, it's not something you go to a hospital and say, I want a revival now. It's dead patient until you revive. And therefore, we can revive patients. Those people could have been revived by the one even who was taking the video.
Well, absolutely.
So remember, learn basic CPR. It may not just save your own relatives' lives. You would be able to save many lives of those collapsing either in a lobby, in a mall, even at an airport, in any places. And it's our responsibility as a nation to be able to do that. Individual as able to help somebody who collapses. Let
Dr.
them not
Ashok
die.
Sait, I'm so glad you stressed so much on that point, that you've been making about CPR. A basic life skill, I would say, that we all should in fact learn and pledge to learn, given that these cases are increasing and there is so much we can do by just doing CPR and doing it right. You learn it right, you do it, you can save life. It's an important message that you send out, also debunking all the myths and wrong information around the COVID-19 vaccine. It is safe, it was safe, and it's not what is leading to these heart attacks is what Dr. Ashok Sait is stressing upon. Appreciate your time here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And some news just coming in. Bengaluru Infosys shocker. Really, Infosys employee has been arrested for recording obscene videos. Accused recorded 30 women employees in the restroom while they were in the restroom. Accused made to apologize by the Human Resource Department after being caught. The 28-year-old Infosys employee has been arrested now by the Bengaluru police. He was made to apologize and now has been arrested. He made videos of women, about 30 women employees, while they were in the restroom. What started really as a chilling cry for justice after a brutal rape has now exposed a horrifying tale of assault while abusing political clout. But what is worse, the saga is now witnessing witness shaming, denial, and even trivializing the crime, even victim shaming. While the accused lawyer spins vile theories, the evidence and more survivors are speaking out louder than ever. Here's a detailed report.
The South Kolkata Law College gang rape horror gets darker and uglier with every passing day. What started as a shocking case of gang rape is now turning into a chilling saga of abuse, denial and disgrace. The defense has crossed a new line. Accused Monjis Mishra's lawyer has made sickening claims in court, citing love bites on his neck as the so-called proof that this wasn't rape.
এফআইআর কপি দেখলে বোঝা যাবে এটা একটা ষড়যন্ত্র, একে ফাঁসানো হয়েছে।
মোবাইলে কি পাওয়া যেতে পারে?
কি পাওয়া যেতে পারে সেটা প্রসিকিউশন বলবে। আপনার থেকে তো প্রসিকিউশনে সমস্ত খবর দিচ্ছে যে গায়ে আঁচড় পাওয়া গেছে। প্রসিকিউশন কি এই কথাটা বলেছে যে তার ঘাড়ে একখানা লাভ বাইট পাওয়া গেছে? মনোজিৎ মিশ্রার এই কথাটা আপনাদেরকে প্রসিকিউশন বলেনি। যদি রেপ হয় কোনোদিন লাভ বাইট পাওয়া যায় না, যেটা আমি আমার ক্লায়েন্টের সঙ্গে দেখা করে তাকে এক্সামিন করে এসে আপনাদের সামনে বলবো।
While Monojit's lawyer makes bogus claims of proof, here is actual physical proof of assault. Scratch marks were found on his body, injuries confirmed during his medico-legal exam on Sunday. Reports say these are classic signs of self-defense. Deep scratches left by the victim as she fought back with all her strength. This evidence could prove crucial, a silent scream embedded in DNA. The grim and horrifying picture painted by the prosecution doesn't end here. There is evidence showing the victim lost consciousness during the assault, only to be revived and raped again. An act so brutal, it defies humanity.
অসুস্থ নির্যাতিতরা যখন শ্বাস নিতে পারছে না, তখন তাকে ইনহেলার দিয়ে সুস্থ করা হচ্ছে এই উদ্দেশ্যে যে সাবসিকুয়েন্টলি তাকে আরও বেশি অত্যাচার আমি করতে পারবো, যেটা ফ্যাক্ট, এটাই বলেছি। আর ইনিশিয়ালি আগে বলেছিলাম মেডিকেল এভিডেন্স যা আছে সেটা করবোরেট করেছে। আজকে আমরা দেখা গেল এই পিসিতে দেখা যাচ্ছে আমাদের সার্কামস্টেন্সিয়াল এভিডেন্স এবং ইলেকট্রনিক এভিডেন্স সবটাই করবোরেট করেছে ভিকটিমের ভার্সনের সাথে।
And as this case plays out in the courtroom, another voice has come forward. Another student from the same institution has come forward with her traumatic experience. She claims she was assaulted by Monojit during a college trip 2 years ago. In her exclusive account to India Today TV, she alleges a pattern of predatory behavior involving at least 15 other girls.
I had noticed that Monojit Mishra was the one who had locked the door and he was staring at me, and he was evidently very much under the influence of not just alcohol but evidently also weed. He was thinking of it. And he had been advancing towards me with his buttons of the shirt opening one by one. Any girl in my possession, including me, I sensed what was about to come and what could be this guy standing in front of me's intentions.
On several occasions, Monojit has been seen having close exchanges and interactions with TMC MLAs and leaders, proof of the political patronage he enjoyed. The question Bengal must ask is this: if the evidence screams, the survivors speak, and the public can see the truth, will the system still look away? Bureau Report, India Today.
Staying with Kolkata's rape shame, did political patronage help Monojit silence the survivors? The man accused of multiple rapes, Monojit Mishra's political clout knew no bounds. A recent video has surfaced which shows his proximity here to powerful TMC MLA Ashok Deb, in which he refers to Deb as uncle. It doesn't really end there. The head of the security for the college has detailed Mishra's reign of terror. Monojit Mishra's reign of terror was as follows. Look at the revelations here. He held late-night parties within the college premises. Revelation number 2, stored sticks and rods inside the guard room. Revelation number 3, Monojit is powerful, no complaints were filed. Also, over 1.5 years ago, he assaulted guards as well within the college premises. Monojit threatened guards after the complaint, is what has been said by Vinayak Das, owner of security agency, who's spoken to India Today television.
He said that yes, he has been dragged by the colleague of the accused. His phone has been snatched and he was locked in the union room. And after probably 45 or 1 hour or so, he was released. He has been asked to open the unlock the main gate, and then his phone was handed over. Then I inquired him that such a big incident happened. Why didn't you inform to me or the college authority or to the supervisor? He said, sir, he was so afraid to inform anything. Then he narrated that, sir, 1.5 years back, one of our guards had been slapped by this this Monojit Mishra. So that's why he didn't inform me, because he thought that if I inform this incident, then either I have to lose my job or maybe this Mangoda will again beat him that why did you inform.
I'm going straight across to my colleague Tapas and Gupta, getting in more details on that story at this point in time. Tapas, what is very clear is that this man enjoyed political patronage and got away with just so much wrongdoing in the last few months or so, isn't it?
Well, yes, absolutely. It's his political clout that neither the authorities nor the police took action against him. And today, what the horrifying revelation that came in from the head of security, the owner of the security company, whose employee has been arrested on charges of helping Monojit Mondal. He came out very open, stating that everybody feared for their life as far as revelations, as far as revealing what his deeds are in front of the police or college authorities. Had they done so, they were threatened to with dire consequences. Yeah, it happened so much so that 1.5 years back, one of the security guard was brutally assaulted and he suffered injuries on his eardrum. So it's very clear that despite having multiple FIRs, there was no action. Despite reaching out to the college authorities, the authorities did not act in the first place. Ashok Dev remains to be the chairman, who is a very powerful MLA of the Trinamool Congress. He never took cognizance of this matter. So it's all about the political clout, and somehow Monojit Mondal felt that he is out of reach of any authorities or agencies whatsoever, and he could do anything that he wants to do, and that have only encouraged him to indulge in this kind of crime, and that have only increased by leaps and bounds with every day passing by. Finally, this brave girl came out and given the alibi before the police, and that's why police have acted. Now it remains to be seen. 4 people have been arrested, but the investigation process is in a very, very crucial stage. Whether or not police will file charge sheet at possible time is something that everybody is waiting at this point in time.
Tapas, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. Tapas and Gupta joining us with the very latest on that story. Meanwhile, the political fallout over the tragedy has only worsened here, with West Bengal Irrigation Minister and senior TMC leader Manas Bhunia referring to the gang rape as a small incident. He later issued a clarification claiming his statement was misinterpreted, called it a BJP-led smear campaign. And he isn't the only one. In fact, in the past, TMC MP Kalyan Banerjee, MLA Madan Mitra also made similar comments trivializing this horror. The BJP has launched a scathing attack on the TMC government, calling the incident TMC-sponsored. The party has accused the Mamata Bandyopadhyay-led administration of shielding criminals and failing to protect women.
টাকটাক করে ছবি তুলে রবিবল্লভপুর থেকে কলকাতায় পাঠানো যেত না। হ্যাঁ, ঘটনা তো ঘটে, নিজের ফ্যামিলিতে ঘটে। হাজবেন্ড ওয়াইফকে মেরে দিচ্ছে বালিশ চাপা, ওয়াইফ প্রেমিকের সঙ্গে ঘুরতে গিয়ে বরকে ঠেলে দিচ্ছে পাড়। These are the crises of the society. এবং মেডিকেল এরিনা is not out of that context. Is it related to my statement with Kosba? এটা সম্পূর্ণ একটা বিভ্রান্তিকর, ইচ্ছাকৃত, অপদস্থ করা, অপমান করার জন্য এই কথাটা জুড়ে দেওয়া হলো। অত্যন্ত মর্মাহত আমি। আমার নামে বিকৃতভাবে একটা ঘটনাকে দিয়ে আরেকটা ঘটনা চাপিয়ে প্রচার করা হচ্ছে এবং সে মঙ্গলকোট টেনে আনা হচ্ছে। হোক, আমার কোনো আপত্তি নেই, গণতন্ত্রের অধিকার, সংবিধানের অধিকার, কেউ বলতেও পারে, কিন্তু আমার আত্মসম্মান রক্ষা করার অধিকারটাও সংবিধান আমাকে দিয়েছে। দরকার হলে আমি আইনি পদক্ষেপ নেব।
এই সমস্ত ক্রিমিনালিটি, রেপ, মলেস্টেশন এটা কারা করে? কিছু পুরুষ করে। তা মহিলাদের লড়াইটা কাদের বিরুদ্ধে? যারা এই পারভার্টেড টাইপের পুরুষ, তাদের বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই করা উচিত। কলেজের ভেতরে যদি করে সেখানে পুলিশ থাকবে কলেজে? আরে ভাই, শিক্ষা প্রতিষ্ঠানে কি পুলিশ থাকবে? আপনি বলুন না। যারা ঘুরছে, যাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে তাদেরও ঠিক করা উচিত কাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে, কাদের সঙ্গে ঘুরছে না।
कस्बा की घटना से एक मैसेज आ गया पूरा लड़की लोग, पूरा स्टूडेंट लोगों को पास, जे अगर आपको किसी जान पहचान ने बुलाए तो जिस दिन कॉलेज बंद है, परीक्षा चल रहा है, आपको यूनिट की कुछ बनाएगा तो आप मत जाइए, इसमें आपको भला नहीं होगा। वो लड़की अगर नहीं जाता तो ये घटना नहीं घटते थे। अगर जाने का टाइम लड़की किसी को बता के जाते थे, 2 सहेलियां लेके जाते थे, ये नहीं घटते। वो जो देख रहे हम, जो गंदा काम किया, वो he had taken the advantage of the situation.